All right, good morning. So this is going to be for intro to stats people, and this may or may not hit the level that you're on. If this is hitting the right level, that's great. If it's you're like I'm way beyond this, that's okay too, and you can safely ignore it. And if this helps you, then that's fantastic. But if you nope, I've done this already, that's okay too. All right. So I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I just want your success. So let's see if we can't help facilitate a successful completion here. Okay, so that's what this is for. So one of the questions that you have earlier in the class or part of the thing is that you have to graph a line. Okay, so we might get something like they'll give you a y equals something like we'll do a 2x minus 3 kind of a thing. Okay, and they want you to graph this. So what you're going to do here is you're going to make something called a t-table. Okay, because way back in the day, we would draw them like this, and we would put our x, and then we would calculate out what our y is going to be. So we pick numbers for your x. That's why they call it the independent variable. Okay, this is often called independent variable. And then y is the dependent variable. Okay, so what you're saying is that we're choosing x's and the values of y we get depend on the values that we chose for x. If you'll pause this for just a moment, I'm going to look something up because one of my friends was very happy to tell me a joke every time we did this. Hey, I needed to review my high school biology. The joke my friend would tell me, she's like, you could always tell because the male has the X chromosome, so we are dependent, and then the Y has the independent variable, so the men are dependent on the women to take care of them. She's an old lady, so if you have like problems with that, she may rest in peace, Ursula. So, uh, but I still remember you very fondly. So, but that's the little joke that she would tell. So yes, we choose our X's independent. Y depends on what our choice was for our X value. Okay, so Y is dependent on what our choices were. So you can think, okay, husband does whatever he's going to do, but it depends on his wife to make the right choices. Like I know that I would not go very far if I just did if I made my own decisions. I would not be in a good spot. So we're going to pick X's. Okay, pick easy X's. Pick zero. Okay, almost always one of the choices you want to make is a zero. So if I plug this in, it's going to be y is equal to 2 times 0 minus 3. Okay, and that's fine to work a little bit off the side, do some scrap paper stuff. 2 times 0, and follow order of operations, okay? I know Facebook is full of these things where they do PEMDAS, parentheses first, then exponents. We're not going to do those. Multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So multiplication comes before addition, subtraction. So we take 2 times 0 first. 2 times 0 is 0, minus 3, and we get minus 3. So our y value here is going to be negative 3. Right? Start picking other numbers. Okay, I would say for most problems that you're going to do, you want to pick about 3 just to be sure that you're getting a straight line out of this. Okay, there are times where you want to pick more. Okay, nobody's going to yell at you if you pick 5 and the teacher would have picked 4, they're not going to yell at you for like, oh, you should have been able to see that. I can name that tune in 4 notes. Like, we're not doing that. If it takes you 5 for you to be confident that that's what the shape is or that's what the graph is going to look like, then pick 5. Okay, nobody's going to get mad at you for picking more points than you need. We will get mad at you if you pick 1 and say, okay, I've got enough. Like, no, that's not cool. It's like I can name that tune in 1 note. Like, no, you can't. Okay, so we usually pick more than 1. Okay, I would say 2 for a line, but you can go all the way up for 3 if you feel confident that way. And if you have something that's crazy your function, if you want to pick 5, then pick 5. Okay, but pick the number that's going to make you feel confident you could draw the shape of this thing without having a problem. So in this case, I'm going to pick 3. So we picked x equals 0. We're going to pick, so this is my pick. x equals 1. So we're going to have y equals 2 times 1 minus 3. Do multiplication first. It's 2. 2 minus 3. If I have $2 and I spend $3, right, I'm going to owe somebody $1. So x is going to be 1 and our y is going to be -1. Do you have to pick nice numbers? No, you don't. Like, what if I wanted to pick x equals, say, 3/2? Okay, so why would you do something crazy like that? Let me show you. We have 2 times 3/2 minus 1. So 2 times 3/2, 2 times 1.5, that's just going to be 3. Okay, so the 2's are going to cancel. We have 3 minus 1, and that equals 2. This is going to be harder to graph now because my x term here is 3/2. My y term is going to be 2. If I have to draw this by hand, and I do, I'd probably want to shy away from numbers that are hard to graph. Okay, so I probably wouldn't want to pick this number. So I lied to you. Let's pick a fourth number. So let's pick, say, x equals, say, 3. Okay, and again, pick the numbers that are going to make this convenient for you. Okay, that's really all we're doing is like try to pick a 0. I would say for the most part you want to pick a couple of positive numbers, but you want to pick at least one negative number. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick let's pick -2. Okay, so we're going to have 2 times -2 minus 1. 2 times -2, that's going to be -4 minus 1. If you're $4 in debt, spend $1 more, we are now $5 in debt. Okay, so that's what we have. So I had my x is equal to -2, and my y value, depending on the x, right? So if I choose something different, I'd get a different answer. Right? We have -5. Okay. Now we have a collection of numbers. Now we're going to go ahead and plot these. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw our Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, and when I was young, I always wondered, we have our x-axis, we have our y-axis. They always go in the term points are x, comma, y. Okay, so we always do the horizontal first and then the vertical point. All right, so if we want to do that, that's fine. But our first point is 0, -3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So we're 0 over and then 3 down. So this is going to be our dot. Okay, Alex has much better tools for this than I will have here. Okay, my next point is going to be 1 over and then -1 down. Okay, and then the next point I'm going to pick -2. So we're going to go to the left. 1, 2. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do your best to make a scale that's reasonably consistent when you're doing this. If you're going to count by 1s, that's fine. If you're going to count by 5s, that's fine. But try to make something that's reasonably consistent. Now, was there anything preventing me from picking like 1/2 or -1/2 or -1/3 or -1/3? Like, no. So all of these points could have been like it was feasible for me to pick, say, 1/2. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the dots this way. If the choices I had were limited to integers, were limited to natural numbers, like I was counting something, then I just have to deal with the dots. But because it didn't say like x is going to be number of people or anything, it's just going to say it's usually a measurement. It could have been half a second, it could have been a third of a second, whatever. It could have been a nanosecond, whatever, 1/100th of a second. We're going to connect the dots. If you had to count things up, then we're going to leave the dots as they are. We're just going to have dots. Okay, but as it is, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to say, pretend this is straight. Okay, it's not really straight. Like I said, Alex has much better choices for this one. Go ahead and do that. And we're going to have our line, okay, to do that. And as you take more math classes, I know the joy, you're going to learn more and more shapes. So because this has a specific kind of shape, specifically y equals a slope times your x plus b, all of this is a line. Okay, there are other shapes. Okay, so we'll get into those. We actually won't really quite get into those, but we can get into other shapes for stats there's other shapes, but for the most part, we really, lines are the easiest shape that humans can understand. Okay, and we see it. You see it every day. Okay, we really do. A report will come out and it'll say something like vitamin C is good for your health, and we will say, well, if some vitamin C is good, then more vitamin C must be better. That's linear thinking, and there's nothing wrong with it. Vitamin taking, I don't know if you can take too much vitamin. I'm sure you can take too much vitamin C, but it would require a lot of effort. Okay, because it's a water soluble vitamin, so you will urinate it out and not really have a problem with it. Vitamins A, D, E, and K, that's a little bit different because they get stored in your fat cells, and you can take too much, and your body has to work to process them. So, with taking vitamin A, there's probably, if you don't have enough vitamin A, there's going to be improvement to your health. But then there's a spot where you're like, taking vitamin A is going to help your health, and then at some point, taking more vitamin A is going to make your health decline. Okay, so there's other shapes depending on what we have here. But lines are easy. So we like lines, and we make relationship with lines very, very easily. Okay. So beware, it's like, oh, that's linear thinking. It's not a bad thing. It's part of how humans think. But you'll see that in political debates too. It's like, well, if minimum wage is, we want to raise minimum wage, so it's like, some people are $7 is fine. It isn't. $15 is fine, and then somebody will counter, well, $15 is fine, then $100 will be fine. Like that's not what they said. The economics people who researched this said $15 is what should be done. If we try to go more, the health of our economy is probably going to at least level off, but may in fact go down if you raise it too much. So in that case, like, there's a range, we call it the domain, like there's a span of X's, what's a good minimum wage, and that's what we can fight about. If you want to do more than that, then you don't have necessarily the same relationship. So sorry I went off kind of on a tangent there, but that's why we like lines, and it's why it's important to be able to graph them. Okay, so sorry about the tangent, but I will see you in the next video.